Hi, it's Florian, and in this video I'm going to talk about why I think that LinkedIn is overrated. Most of you might know LinkedIn. It's a network where people post about their professional lives, where they can post about how their career progressed, they can post about their interests, they can post that they are looking for a job, and of course companies can post of their new products, they can host or put jobs out there that people can apply to. So it is quite a nice network to connect people in their professional lives to companies and maybe even companies to each other and advertising new products. And all of that could be very great, but I think that the return on invest for this network is very low for the individual, but also for the companies. And by the pure existence of this network, it makes it harder for everyone to progress and not easier. And why I think that is pretty simple. LinkedIn makes money of you by advertising. So they either advertise jobs to you or they advertise products or services from companies to other companies or to individuals. Or they also make money of you if you want to find a job and they support you in being visible more, for example. And all of that, of course, costs money. And that's how LinkedIn makes money of it. So a bit like every social network, and that's why they also have the problem that many social networks have. There is, first of all, the algorithm wants to promote viral content to you or paid content and not valuable content. So that is something that is true for every social network. You get things that people click on, quite likely, maybe not the ones that you actually want to see. And that also leads to a lot of consulting and coaching on how to be more visible on LinkedIn, how to polish your LinkedIn profile if you want to find a new job. All of that is, of course, something that links to the LinkedIn algorithm. And if there's a lot of coaches who do that, of course, the algorithm there will be a feedback loop in the algorithm to the coaches, and every LinkedIn profile will look the same. And everyone will have the perfect career, will have had the perfect jobs and the perfect performance. And in reality, that is not true. And probably everyone knows that. So what you see on LinkedIn is not what people really are. It's a bit like on Instagram. If people post from their vacations, it's not what the vacation really was. It's like what people want to show from themselves. And they want to show themselves in the best possible way, which is understandable, but of course makes the whole network a bit useless if you can't distinguish between good and bad candidates from LinkedIn, for example. You can just distinguish on how good were candidates in figuring out the LinkedIn algorithm and figuring out how to present yourself on LinkedIn, but you don't know about the real job performance. And there might be a correlation between both, but probably not too high. So for companies, it's a bit hard to figure out on LinkedIn if the candidate is good or not. The same is probably true for the services that are advertised. Whenever I see this advertising, they of course try to provide some content, and it is mostly very shallow. If you look at the content, and I wrote down a few things that I just found today in 5 minutes. One was very funny. 99% of high-performing software engineers I have worked with did whatever. And this was so strange because, first of all, if you say I have worked with, means that you think that you are high-performing and you could actually judge if someone is high-performing or not, which I don't know if this person can. And I also don't think that 99% did something, and here's a statistic. But the funny thing was what they did is they built prototypes. So that's what he wanted to say. You build prototypes and then show something just to make it more understandable for everyone. And that's a very shallow information. And there's more about these shallow informations. LinkedIn is full of it. They, for example, show you simple tools like fishbone diagrams or SWOT analysis and then say how great this tool is, but it's not, and it usually requires some coaching to use it in an efficient way, and that's what they want to sell. But they don't tell you anything that is not very known already, so it's not that interesting most of the time on LinkedIn. But they have a nice graphic usually, so they put it in a nice scheme or have a nice slide to show you that. What I also think is that LinkedIn sometimes is actually dangerous. So I read a post a few weeks ago where someone wanted to promote coaching, and what they did is they put things in like you might not feel good all the time. You might neglect yourself sometimes. You might have ruminating thoughts about your work and all of that. And they said we can coach you and we can help you basically. But what they actually did is they took five signs of a depression and just said we can support you in coaching you. And what I would say is if you have these 5 signs, don't go to a coach, go to a therapist. And that's also something that you see sometimes. If it goes to this, we can coach you, especially on LinkedIn. You see things that probably a coach shouldn't coach. It's more what a coach, what a therapist should do. And there's a lot of these things on LinkedIn, and that makes it pretty unusable for me. It's interesting to see if someone of my old colleagues has a new job, so it's more like a social network, but I don't really use it for other things than basically looking into what my former colleagues did or friends that I have do, but not really to advertise something or to also look at the advertisements of others. I don't care about them. If I want to do something, I don't look into LinkedIn for new products that I want to buy or new services that I want to buy. That's very unlikely. What I also think is that LinkedIn is full of survivorship bias. So when you read your LinkedIn reel and you see what happens there, who has a new job, who has a new position, and people can like others that you don't know who also have new positions, it seems like everyone has a wonderful work life and finds jobs very easily and has the greatest jobs. But that is also not true. It's like on every social media, the things that are successes or that are nice get pushed up, but no one will post. I wrote, maybe sometimes people post it, but not very often. I wrote 100 applications and no one answered. That's not what you see. You see, I start a new position as vice president of anything. That's something that you see. And that makes it even more dangerous because it doesn't make people really feel well, I think, if they are looking for a job and they just see this kind of information there. And it also doesn't help you to figure out what they did differently than you did, because sometimes things are just pure luck and they happen by randomness and not because someone did something very great. That is basically the criticism I have. I think that LinkedIn is not too useful. I also don't think it hurts people too much, but I don't put a lot of effort in it. I make sure my profile is somehow okay, and I also look into what my colleagues did, as I said, but I don't think that you get a lot of value from it, and you shouldn't expect to do so. If you have different ideas or maybe a different opinion, put it down in the comments. If you like this content, subscribe and have a wonderful day.